Hi everyone, I'm Rishabh from Yoda Learning Solutions and I have two questions for you. For how long have you been using MS Word? Now, I would hear some 5 years, some answers as 10 years, some maybe even 20 years. And just because we have been using Word for these many years, we believe that we know the best of the tricks and it is the optimal way of working with Word. Well, what I have done is picked up some case studies which I felt I have seen people working with in the most unconventional, inefficient manner. And some of these are: have you ever copied text from PDF and when you paste it to Word, you have to involve yourself in delete space, delete space, delete space? Mhm. Secondly, if ever you had to put a terminology in your Word document which is supposed to stick together, for example, Indian accounting standards, I want that all three words should be always in the same line. Do you have to add a manual space in between those to make sure they are in the same line? How about if you're creating a multi-pager policy document or a legal agreement, would you not want to have a table of contents automatically generated, which also shows the page number? And later when you update the page numbers, it gets updated automatically. If you have not been using mail merge to send bulk documents through Outlook or through printing of letters, you might be losing a lot of your valuable time in doing repetitive tasks. And all along these, amongst these, when you edit and work with text, you spend a lot of time in going to the different buttons which allow you to justify or align left or align right. In fact, very recently, I came across this particular problem whereby a certain phrase or disclaimer had to be repeated in multiple different documents, and people Went back to C drive, D drive, opened up the folder and the subfolder, finding the document, copying the text, and then pasting it finally in the final document. Instead, why not being able to put that phrase or disclaimer in one section of Word, whereby in future, if ever you need that phrase or disclaimer statement, you can quickly make 2 clicks and get that. Apart from this, when you work with table are one of the most critical elements in Word document because almost every one of us uses that. How do you work with that fast and edit those? Apart from this, when you work with multiple PDF documents simultaneously and you have to come out with some relevant text and paste in Word, you continue to copy, press Alt Tab, paste, again go back to PDF, change the PDF, copy, Alt Tab, paste. Well, I have a significantly better way to do that, and we'll see what is that. So I invite you to complete this 30 minutes fast track Word video program, and trust me, you will get your full ROI, return on investment of your time, in the upcoming weeks, if not earlier. See you soon in the video series program on Word Tricks Ninja. Hi there. I'm Rishabh from Yoda Learning Solutions, and people have been quite glad to see our videos on Excel and PowerPoint and macros, and they have come up with a lot of queries with respect to Word shortcut keys and tricks as well. So I'm not going to discuss Word shortcut keys that relate to making the text bold and italics that we have been doing since ages. What I've done is prepared a quick list of very important shortcut keys and tricks which I believe even people who are working with Word documents since last 2 decades can make use of, and for them it will be new. Let's see some of the tricks. So it'll be a very fast walkthrough across some of the very selected shortcut keys. Let's see. First, I need some random text on my screen. So rather than writing something like this and show my keyboard shortcut skills, I write equal to RAND bracket open close and enter. Depending on the version of the word that you are using, your text might be different than that of mine, but both of us will get the random text. Isn't it fascinating? That was our first trick. Now, the second trick. I wish to change some of the font to a higher font size. Now we go to home and then we go to this increase font and then make use of it. Instead, I use control third bracket or control square bracket closed to increase the font size. It's a very fast way to do that because I don't want that if you are on mailing tab, then you choose the text, you go to home and then click on this. Instead, on the contrary, I can choose the text and press control third bracket open to reduce the font size. Next trick. Quite often it happens that you wish to copy some text from a PDF document, correct? So I downloaded this small pocketbook guide on IND AS, Indian Accounting Standards, from PricewaterhouseCoopers website. It's a publicly available document. In fact, it's a very quick snapshot of very important circulars and Indian Accounting Standard guidelines, which if you are from accounting background and in Indian context, you might want to refer to this. So I'm going to copy this particular text, and let's say I want to refer to this in one of my documents. So I copy this, but the point is when I go ahead and try to paste it, you notice it appears in half sentences, and you would have noticed this in a lot of other PDF documents as well. So what we resort to is press delete and then go to the end of the statement, again press delete and again press delete. So doing that is a very time consuming exercise. Now let me show you how can this be done in an automated manner. First, I'll quickly show you the trick and then I will show you the logic behind that trick. So I choose this text right before the end of this small dot. Control H, that is what activates find and replace. I go to more button, I go to special, and there is something called paragraph mark. I'm going to click on that and then I might simply say replace all. Do you want to search the remainder of the document? I say no, but in the background what happened? Notice it is exactly what I was looking for. Now, how did it happen? Let me give you the logic now. If I go to Home tab and click on this paragraph mark, notice I click on this and this gives me this sign which is invisible and cannot be printed out. What you do when you press delete and space, you're actually deleting the paragraph mark. So there is no keyboard key which actually replicates the paragraph mark. However, right now as we saw, Control H, the more and the special button allows me to replicate this to the power P, which is a proxy for paragraph mark. And using this trick, if you want to add a space between the two texts, you can, or not in context of this document, and then say replace all. And do you want to search the remainder of the document? No, I just want this to be done for one paragraph. So it's a very fascinating trick. You'll love it, and try this when you're working with the next PDF document. So I'll come with the series 2 of this word trick very soon. Till then, practice these tricks so far. Hi there. So in response to people's queries on more of word tricks which can be used by people using Word for more than 2 decades, we come with the series 2 of our word tricks. Now, I've taken a statement from one of the reports produced by PricewaterhouseCoopers from their publicly available website, and I've just copied one paragraph here. Now, what I want is that I may need to quote this quite often in several documents. Agreed? If I use the traditional method, I will be saving this document every time later point in time where I want to copy and paste this particular paragraph. I'll have to again go back to this document which may be lying in C drive or D drive and different folders and subfolders, open that document, take that text and then paste it again, right? No, instead of this, what we do is we choose this entire piece of text, go to Insert tab, and then on the right hand side you'll find something called Quick Parts. Now the meaning is quickly accessible parts. If I can save this paragraph, the selection, to Quick Part Gallery, it asks me what name should I be using it for remembering this in future. Let's say in AS disclaimer, or maybe in AS intro, and I press OK. Now next time any Word document you open, even if you have rebooted the system, you can quickly go to Insert, Quick Parts and pick this up. Maybe I'm opening a new document, absolutely new document, Insert, Quick Parts, and I see the same paragraph written out here. So rather than opening the files from C drive, D drive and trying to find which folder it was saved in, which version, you can use the Quick Parts as a tool to save the text or phrases which you want to use frequently. Quite important in legal area because there are standard clauses of, let's say, arbitration or maybe for rental agreements. You can use this feature to quickly bring the standard text for these cases. So this was Quick Part. Now the next trick is, in this case, when I'm mentioning ind AS, so for example, in one of the statement, let's say ind AS is out here. I'm just going to highlight this. Now what happens if you add more words to it? Notice at the end of the line, when it reaches the edges, it makes sure the AS goes to the next line and in remains in the second line, right? Now what I want is they should be sticking together. It should always remain together irrespective how many words do I add before or after. So how do I actualize this? So let me show you one trick. When you write ind AS, let me write this fresh, IND. Instead of pressing a space, I am pressing Control Shift space, and then I'm writing AS and then a normal space. Now between ind and the AS word, there is a Control Shift space which stands for non-breaking space. It looks like a space, but it ensures the text left and right doesn't break across. And let me show you a quick demo. Let me add more space as I did show to you last time. Notice in this case, as soon as the phrase reaches to the edge of the statement, ind AS goes to the next line and they all stick together. So this is called non-breaking space, and it's a very important tool where you have phrases or text which should be held together. It could be name of the company, it could be name of the law, or it could be name of the person. So use these two tricks to further automate your task and achieve the speed and efficiency. Till the time we come with more such word tricks. Thank you. Hi there. Hope you liked our series 1 and series 2 tricks on word. Well, here comes series 3. Now, in this case, I'm going to talk about one trick which people know about, but they do not know the application of. What is that? Let's suppose that I'm using some of the public available PDF documents, and I'm probably reading them out and have to make a report out of it. So when I have to make a report out of it, quite often we choose that particular statement, Control C, go back to Word document, paste it, right? And again we start reading, and again we find some relevant statement, again we copy, again we go ahead and try to paste it. And we do that continuously from different PDF documents, or let's say different Excel or Word files. Well, rather than doing this copy paste jugglery, which distracts, which actually breaks your attention, why not we find a mechanism which lets us just do copy while we are reading, and focus more on the relevant stuff of the document. And then later, once the process finishes, we are going to paste it. Okay, now how is it going to happen? So let me show you. If I go to Word document, right below the format painter, there's a small tiny button which if you hover around, it tells you clipboard. I'm going to click on clipboard. Okay, something that we may have seen in the past. Well, what happens now is if I go to this particular document, let's say I'm copying this particular line, Control C. Okay, I go to the next line, Control C. Let me choose it correctly. Control C, and finally this line, Control C. And again going to the other document, choosing this particular line, Control C. Now once all this is pasted up to 24 items, I can go to Word and notice on the left hand side, I am getting the same thing in a chronological order. Enter. I can then paste. Simply clicking on that area, let me paste this. So you do not bother about copy paste. You only bother about copy and paste later. Not only it copies the text, it can also take snapshots and pictures. So if I take a snapshot of, let's say, this area, correct? Notice in the clipboard gallery, I have this particular image there as well. So it's a very fascinating feature, a very quick way to work with multiple documents at the same time. That is clipboard. In fact, in the later version of Microsoft Office software, if I press Ctrl C twice, it quickly makes the clipboard appear. This happens from 2010 version onwards. On the other hand, another trick, if you're working with tables quite often, let's say I'm making one table and maybe the columns has been arranged in a manner that the width is not equal, you might simply choose the table, go to layout, and there's something called distribute column. Notice automatically the columns have been distributed equally. Now you want to disengage the third row from the table above. So a lot of people do this. They cut it, they press enter, they press Ctrl V. Well, these 3 steps can be done in just one. How? I choose the cell, the third row, and press Ctrl Shift enter, right? And then probably add one row here, and this can be a different rule than the above one. Once that is done, I might press delete key and they get joined together. This is very useful when you're working with tables stretching across multiple pages. And once I am done, I want to insert a page break. So what do? Control Shift enter. It quickly takes me to another page. In fact, if I remember correctly, if I press Control enter, it does take me to the next page, and that's the page break in between. So while we are in a table, the Control Shift enter helps me in getting the tables row disassociated, while I can use Control enter or Shift enter to get another page break on screen. Use this, and trust me, one of these days you'll thank me for discussing all these shortcut keys. See you in the next video. Hi there. This is the 4th in the series of the word shortcut keys. And this time I'm going to present some tricks which can help you prepare long documents, policy documents, legal agreements. So for example, if you have a lot of heads of discussion in the Word document, let's say all these, right? I'm just going to copy paste it there. Normally you will be having a lot of text inside them, and what you struggle with is getting the page number of these topics as and when the document stretches beyond certain pages. So what happens, watch this. Let's say I am going to write a lot of text about this. I'm just writing equal to RAND, bracket open close, enter. So this is the heading, and underneath this heading lies all the text. So if you want to prepare a table of content, the one which you would be seeing in almost all the books, the table of content with the page number, a very fast way and automated way is that you choose the header, go to Home tab, and just click on heading 1. If you wish to change the properties of heading 1, you can right click, go to modify, and make it, let's say, bold, and press OK. Notice it does change. Now what you have done is you have tagged the text as H1 or heading 1, and you'll also notice a small sign towards the left hand side of this text. Now this will be useful in preparing the table of contents later. So let's say the top 3 points, these are subheads of the main heading. So what do? I go to this text, I give a heading 2, and probably write some text, let's say equal to lorem. Bracket open close, enter. Right, this is one. And let's say fast acronym, this is another one. I'm going to choose this and putting heading 2. As I said earlier, you can change the output, the way the displaying of heading 2 happens. So I right click, I go to modify, and I just change the color. Let's say dark red, let's say, or maybe dark blue. Okay. Notice all of this changes to dark blue. So now let's see what's going to happen. If I stop by and go to reference at the beginning of my document and I click on table of contents, okay, it's asking me what template do you want to work on. I'm going to click on the first one. Instantly I get the main heading, the page number, and the subheading, which was H1 and H2. Of course, with time you might see some modification in the main text. Let's say this is also H2. I'm going to make this H2. And as I go to the top of my table of content, all I have to do is click on it and click on update table, update entire table along with page numbers. Okay. And notice everything changes. It's a very fascinating feature which not only gives you a track point of headers and the subheaders, but also gives you the revised page number. So the last part before I close this particular session is if I'm changing the text and adding some extra spaces, go back to the table of content, update it, entire table, notice the page numbers, it does change. So use this when you're preparing long documents, maybe stretching up to 20-30 pages, legal agreements, company policy document, or any such document which you think is relevant and can take the use of table of content. Hope you liked it. Hi there. In this 5th series of the word shortcut keys, let me embark on the next few shortcut keys which will definitely help you automate a lot of mini tasks and eventually save a lot of time. So for example, at times it does happen that you choose the paragraph, you go to the button and then either try to justify or right align or middle align and so on and so forth. Well, next time if you come across such a scenario, use the shortcut key. Control R for right align, Control L for left, Control E for center. And if you're working with an uninterrupted paragraph of lines, then you might want to use justify at times. So Control R will give something like this, Control L something like this, Control J will just ensures it justifies the text. At times if you want to change the cases, of course we know about Shift F3 and it just helps you toggle between the cases. Now watch another trick which helps me edit the documents very fast. If I place my cursor at the end of the letter U, the word U, and I press Control Delete key 2-3 times, notice the words on the right are getting deleted one by one. So I see people, they try to use delete one letter at a time. Well, you have the opportunity to press Control and delete. It deletes the entire word much faster. Let me press Control Z back and get the things inside the same line item. Next, instead of Control Delete key, if you press Control Backspace key, backspace means it takes the text from the left hand side and it takes one word at a time. So instead of saying backspace, which can take a lot of time to edit the document, Control Backspace will be much better. Isn't that wonderful? In fact, if you are working with policy and legal document, this is a must-have shortcut key in your mind. Hi there. In the 6th series of shortcut keys on Word, let me show you one trick which is quite often used in resume and legal documents across different divisions, sales, or it could be finance. So let's say there are two paragraphs and both of them need a heading, something like clause 1 or clause 2. Now, of course, people write in simple manner, clause 1, clause 2, and maybe even make them bold or maybe even underline. Well, what I do at times, instead of using a small single cell table to write clause 1, because when I do draw that table, I have to do that manual adjustment of making sure the alignment part, right? So instead of doing that, I take the help of this trick. I choose clause 1, okay. I then go to the border and borders and shading. I go to shading and I say fill color should be, let's say, light gray, okay. Notice instantly it actually occupies the starting and the ending point of the entire set of paragraphs which are lying underneath it. And let's suppose that you had already written clause 2 previously. Now, how do I get this clause 1 to clause 2? And at the same time, if you have clause 3 or maybe clause 4 or 5 or 6 in multiple other pages, I would be tempted to use Format Painter, correct? A single click Format Painter, I click on it, it does apply the trick here and I lose the power. So instead of this, a lot of people do this. They go to clause 1, choose the text, they double click on that and then they click on clause 2 or maybe clause 3 or clause 4. Double clicking on Format Painter ensures the power is with you until you press escape. You can use that Format Painter uninterruptedly. However, while you are using Format Painter, you can't do anything else. Why? Because if you try to make anything else happen, so for example, I want to make this bold. I can't until I press escape and then choose the text and make it bold. So I want the benefit of Format Painter, uninterrupted use. At the same time, it should not occupy my cursor. So what is the answer? Let me show you. I go to clause 1, I press Ctrl Shift C. Ctrl C is for normal copying of objects and text, Ctrl Shift C, and then I go to clause 2, I press Ctrl Shift V. Now let's say I'm making this bold or maybe italics or maybe I'm adding some words, clause 3 or clause 4. Now it remembers my last copied format, so Ctrl Shift V brings that back. So either use Format Painter or use Ctrl Shift C. So I prefer Ctrl Shift C and Ctrl Shift V to copy and paste the format. This way your cursor is not occupied, and the best part about this shortcut key is it's also applicable in PowerPoint. So any shapes, in case in PowerPoint you may have worked with different shapes, right? And I'm just drawing one random one, maybe with the color orange, and I'm just drawing one more, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and this is, let's say, blue. If I choose this Ctrl Shift C and I choose this Ctrl Shift V, it copies the format from one shape to another. So do try this, a very fascinating shortcut key. Hi there. In this 7th series of Word techniques and shortcut tricks, I'll be sharing the basics of mail merge. So let's assume that you have 5 or 10 people who are supposed to join next month and their date of joining are different, their names are different. I need to draft individual letters stating that those people are invited or requested to join the team on the respective dates that they have been allotted. Now, in Excel, I have drafted a simple database which talks about the name of the people and their expected date of joining. Now, how do I get this letter drafted for all these people? Well, first see. I'm going to just put in the generic text talking about dear, and I'm just putting a space thereafter. Dear, whatever the name will be later. And I'm putting a generic statement saying you are requested to join the company on a certain date. Now, why am I keeping these area blank, which is supposed to be held by the name and the date of joining? Well, this is what we call as merge fields, the fields which will come up automatically for all these people. Let me show you in few minutes. But let me, for the time being, continue with the letter and simply finish the last part of this. So now I'm going to go to mailings. I'm going to start mail merge. Okay. Next, I'm going to step-by-step mail merge wizard. This is a good starting point for people who are just starting with the mail merge concept. I'm going to click on that. Okay. So on the right hand side panel, it says what you want to do with it. Do you want to send individual email messages? In fact, in the advanced part, we will see that email messages can also be automated. For 50 people, I can send 50 emails individually to their email IDs using Outlook. At this moment, we are on step 1 of 6. Let me go to step 2. It's asking me, do you want to use the current document as the template? Yes. I'm going to go to the next. And here it asks me, do you have current set of contacts, the names or the fields which you want to include in these letters? Of course I have, which is the Excel file I was referring to. So it says use an existing list, and then I am going to help Word browse it. So I'm going to browse, I'm going to desktop. Amongst the many other files that I see, I have a file called new joinee. So I'm going to click on N, new joinees. I'm going to click on that. Okay, so this Excel file has 3 worksheets, and I remember saving all these data in sheet 1. So I'm going to press OK. Instantly, it picks up the header name DOJ. Okay, which again, if I click on it, it might just tell me, oh, how would I want to sort this up. Let me go to advanced. In fact, I could do much more things, but at this moment, I'll just keep this away. Let this go on. Okay. And then I say next, write our letter. Of course, we have already written the letter. But the main point is how to ensure the individual names come up in the individual letters. Here is the next level of trick. It is under mailings, insert merge fields, and I'm going to click on name. I'm just going to put a space before name so that it looks like dear and followed by the name, and put a comma thereafter. And when is it that person is joining? I'm again going to insert merge field and put DOJ. Okay. Let me see a preview. Now this is something that's going to happen for everyone. But hey, I don't like the way the date has been shown to me because I want 3rd of January 2015. All it's correctly written, but the display is not as per the format which I want. So what do? I go back to Excel. I write a heading text. In fact, I'm writing a simple formula called text. Choosing the cell. This is one of the Excel formula. And in double quote, I'm writing DD -MMM -YY, double quote close the parenthesis, enter. So it looks the same, almost the same, but it's stored as text. I'm going to save this file. I'm going to go back to my Word document. I am again going back to some of my previous steps where it asked me to go and browse the file, select a different list. Okay, this time again desktop. I'm clicking on N, and it leads me to new joinee list. Okay, sheet 1. Now this time I have another column. Notice it's displaying the date as it was shown in the Excel, right? So I press OK. I'm going to delete this merge field. Name was fine, so I'm not deleting that. It grays out. So on, and I'm inserting the merge fields as text. Okay, let me see the preview. Perfect. Now I say, let's go ahead and finish the merge. Edit individual documents. All right. It says, do you want to merge the records for all the people? I say yes. And instantly on the right hand side panel, I see multiple pages being created. So first is, Dear Jignesh, you are requested to join the company on 3rd January 15. Next, one page is for Jaggi, different date. Notice. So similar thing can also be printed in PDF and printed out and sent to individual people. So mail merge in essentially, it simply means you draft your document, you start with step-by-step mail merge wizard, and once you're almost there, you also then use insert merge fields and finally merge, finish and merge. So this was the basics of mail merge. We'll see more of it in the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching and hope you put it to use.